Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if you're new here, and in this video I am going to be doing a little Toniebox review. We got our Toniebox for Christmas, which was about 4 months ago now. If you are new here, I just usually share about our homeschooling journey, and I've shared before our screen time rules, and so I have decided to make this video to review the Toniebox because, spoiler alert, we love it. And I thought it would be helpful for anyone who's looking into the Toniebox, but also this could be kind of like a part 2 to the screen time rules video because the Toniebox has actually helped change our screen time rules significantly. So I guess I'll do a little bit of a brief update on what we used to do with toys and screen time, and then I'll get to where we're at now and where the Toniebox plays in and how we like it and all that sort of thing. So my kids usually got about 2 hours or so of screen time. We would probably do about one show in the morning time at some point. They would get an hour of tablet time during their quiet time, and then they would get maybe a half an hour to an hour of TV time in the afternoon. This would change sometimes. Maybe we wouldn't do a show in the morning or in the evening, but generally it was like 2 to 2.5 hours of screen time. And I just kind of decided, after watching some other people talk about how their kids were easier to parent when they didn't get as much screen time, it just kind of like snowballed into what we're at now, which is really only one show a day and no tablet time except for on the weekends. And honestly, a huge part of that was the Toniebox. Like I said, we got this for Christmas. I got them, actually I didn't get them any of the Tony characters for Christmas except for this one, which came with the box. And then I believe I had my mom get them each. I think they got 4, well 2 each from my mom. And now we keep them in this little bag. We have 10 of them now. They each have music and about like 40, I think, to 50 minutes of either music or stories on it. And so it's a lot of time that they could spend just listening to stories. At first, when they first got it, that's all they did. They just wanted to listen to stories basically for like a couple weeks, which was, I mean, it was very nice for us because they just kept themselves busy. They didn't really ask for the TV at all. And then of course, now that they've listened to the stories, they also didn't have that many in the beginning. But once they've listened to the stories, they still are very engaged with it, which is interesting. I would have thought that they maybe would get bored of the stories, but the one thing that I would say that's really important is if you're considering getting either like the Toniebox, or I can't think of what the other one's called, but the other one that's similar to this, where it just reads stories, is that I would definitely only get it if you're going to have the budget to purchase the Toniebox characters. Maybe not even every month, but like every other month if you can get them a new one. I feel like that's your best bet to keep them engaged, because I think they probably would get bored of the same story all the time. So they're $18 per Toniebox character. So they're not cheap, but they're not like overly expensive either if you decide to just get one once a month, or maybe, like I said, every other month or something. Or you just get like ask family to buy them maybe a bunch for their birthday or Christmas or something. But basically it has like transformed our home in the sense that they don't do screen time during quiet time anymore. They just listen to the Toniebox during their quiet time. I also have put like a limit on it where they can't listen to it in the mornings before we do school, because then they get sucked into the stories and then they don't want to do school, or they give me a hard time. So there's like rules around it. They can only use it during quiet time, and then after quiet time, if they want to go back and listen to it later in the evening, they can, because I'm not trying to get them to focus on anything. And then, like I mentioned, they'll just do 1, occasionally 2 episodes of a show. After quiet time, I'll let them watch a show, and then like if I'm like particularly tired or something, I'll let them watch a second one, or if I'm really busy with something. But I really try to keep this show's only at like what they're expected, which is really just, I'm trying to keep it at one show for the most part so that they know what to expect, and then I feel like they play better because they're just focused only on like they are not thinking about screen time. They're not asking, can we watch a show? They're not wondering like, oh, well, let me just hang out near mom because maybe she'll change her mind and she'll let us watch a show. Like they just keep themselves busy now, which is really awesome. So trying to think of other things that you might want to know about the Toniebox. It's very simple, straightforward. Like you have to set it up, and then every time you get a new character, it just plays now. They had to download in the beginning, and then to turn it on, you just place the character on, and then you press one of these little ears, which is the volume lower and higher. The bottom is how you connect it to charger. I would say the charge time is pretty good, although the boys now, they charge it on their own, so I don't know exactly how long it lasts, but I remember it lasting for quite a while in the beginning. I would say a good age range for it is probably maybe like 2.5 to 7 or 8, maybe something like that. I think I can't think of the other thing, not the Toniebox, the other little device that plays the stories. It looks more like a radio. I would say that's better for older kids. If you have like a 6 or 7-year-old and you don't have any younger kids, I would probably recommend one of those over the Toniebox because those just have cards, and I think they have like older like stories that are geared more for older kids, where these ones, like as you can see, they're like Disney characters, or like the PJ Masks, Spidey. They also have Wild Kratts, so like you definitely could find different ones that are for older kids, but I feel like the Toniebox is definitely better for younger kids. Also, the characters just look like the characters, where the other one has cards for it, so it's less geared towards younger kids. Not that younger kids couldn't use it. So something else that I wanted to share about, not exactly the Toniebox, but about like screen time and getting kids to play. So something else that I thought I would throw into the end of this video here that's not exactly about the Toniebox, but if you are considering the Toniebox to try to reduce your child's screen time, something that we did around the same time that we got the Toniebox is we did a gigantic declutter of our kids' toys. I am usually a pretty good like declutterer. Like I love going through the house and getting rid of things. But for some reason when it came to kids' toys, it was very difficult for me to get rid of anything, because I always felt like if I get rid of this, this might be like the next toy that they really love, and I'm getting rid of this like hope that they'll like play with this toy for like a long time or something, if that makes sense. But I finally just realized that there really isn't going to be a specific toy that they're just gonna like fall in love with and just play with like crazy. I found that the best thing for them to play with is really like open-ended toys like blocks. They love magnetiles. We have bristle blocks, and then trains, which they don't love the trains quite as much as the blocks. But what I realized too is that during quiet time, I let them like swap out the different types of blocks usually, so that their entire room doesn't become a giant nest, so that they have to like put the one back and then kind of like trade it in. But we got rid of probably like at least 50% of their toys, all of the different like character toys. I mean, we kept a few. I brought some to my mom's house, so now they have toys to play with there, and we live in a smaller house and we don't have a lot of space for toys. And I feel like that honestly has been really helpful in reducing screen time as well, because they just don't have as many options and it doesn't seem to overwhelm them as much. They like spend their days coloring, listening to the Toniebox. I got them a sticker book for Easter and they love sticker books. And then they build things. And so that's kind of just what they spend their days doing. They don't need all of these like different little toys that, I don't know, they just like become overwhelmed when there's too many options. And so if you are trying to reduce screen time, I definitely recommend trying to like keep their toys at a minimum, because then they don't get overwhelmed by the amount, and I feel like they play with them more. So I hope this review was helpful. I hope that I did a good enough job kind of recapping what it is and how it works. And but let me know if you have any questions. Leave them down below, and I will definitely get back to you if you are considering buying a Toniebox and you have just a question that you wanted to ask before you got it. Like I said, we love ours. They've played with it basically every single day since Christmas. They don't get tired of it, which I'm kind of shocked about. I really thought maybe they would get tired of it. But like I said, buying new ones I think is definitely key to that. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new and you'd like to follow along with our homeschooling journey. And I will see you in the next one.